Well, the Tigers get a nice bounce back victory in Wrigley on Wednesday night. We'll talk about that and more all today on Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Thursday, August 22nd, 2024. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Welcome in, welcome all, everybody. Happy Thursday. Happy Tigers victory Thursday. Well, hopefully I was trying to do a play on like Victory Monday for the Lions when they went on Sunday, and then like Victory Monday, but baseball, you can't really do that because like you play the next day more times than not. I also just found these sunglasses. Kind of go hard. I have like 8 pairs scattered throughout my desk, so probably need to address that. The Tigers do not need to address losing. Nope, that didn't work either. Tigers win. Good ball game. 8-2 victory for your Detroit Tigers. They are now 62-65 on the season. This is a great bounce back win. A great bounce back win. Really nice to see. You know, we've really been driving home the point that the youth needs to play, and they need to play to get experience, and the experience will help them, you know, learn and develop and whatnot. And I think one of the things that I give AJ credit for, because it's part of his kind of core philosophy, is like you can win every day you go to the ballpark. And I think that that's something that he has been trying to instill in this team and kind of create as the Tigers culture in the clubhouse. And, you know, we've seen a lot of teams in the past from the Tigers that would let one loss become 5 losses, become 9 losses, and then, you know, the season's over. And I think that this team, for the most part, has done a pretty good job at avoiding a huge slide. Last year, they lost whatever it was, 7 or 9, maybe it was, in a row in June. This team obviously was rough in June again this year. I'm not saying this season has like gone to plan or anything like that. Not what I'm trying to argue, but you know, having a team that's this young and really get shut down in game 1 of this series, turn it around, go out and put up an 8-piece on the same team against a sub-4 ERA, like solid pitcher in Jameson Taillon, I think is a really great sign and is really, really great to see. You know, put it behind you. You can win every time you step on the field. And I think that that's something that is a good piece of development for these young players. And that's why I think wins like this are important. And now you can go for a series win. And again, start that climb back to 500, which is really exciting. It's absolutely awesome. The kids are all right. So what went right in this ball game? The top of the lineup is really the point that I want to drive home for what went right on the offensive side of the ball here. Parker Meadows, Riley Greene, Kerry Carpenter, your 1, 2, 3 in the lineup on Wednesday night, had 7 combined hits. All of them got on base multiple times and hit 2 home runs. And I think the most exciting part of that piece specifically, and of this point specifically, is that those 3 could actually be your 1, 2, 3 of the future. I'm not saying it's a guarantee. There's still, you know, we need to see a much bigger sample size from Parker. You could even argue you need to see a much bigger sample size from Greene to, you know, guarantee that he's going to be the 2-hitter on like a perennial, you know, playoff team or anything like that. Carpenter, need to see a full season out of him. Haven't really come close to that. And this is now the 3rd season that he's been a part of. Like, I'm not saying it's these are guaranteed your 3 of the future, but Parker, if he reaches his ceiling, is the leadoff hitter of the future. He draws walks and he runs the bases like a gazelle, right? That is the ideal leadoff hitter of the future if he reaches his true peak. Riley Greene has an incredibly high ceiling. He's obviously 2-hitter, would be the perfect space for him in the lineup. And Kerry Carpenter has been your best power hitter for pretty much since the second he got called up to the majors 2 seasons ago. And I think there's obviously, again, with a 277 average and a 918 OPS in a sample size that isn't as big this year, that there's certainly an argument that he could do that going forward. So it's just, that is the most exciting part to me, is not only is this production from 3 younger players, you're getting it from 3 guys who legitimately could stick in those spots in the lineup going forward. And that is unbelievably exciting. Parker Meadows, 3 for 5 in this ball game with 2 runs scored. Again, just watch his base running, even when he doesn't steal bases, right? He didn't have a steal in this game. Even when he's not stealing, the base running goes so unnoticed and is so important, right? Like the fact that he can be on first with 2 outs, and if the ball is hit to the right side, he's at least on third, if not scoring, is so overpowering. That's such a secret weapon. And then even more so when he's on second with 2 outs, if it is a hit, he is scoring. It doesn't even really matter where. As long as it's not an infield single, he is scoring. And again, that is so unbelievably valuable at the top of a lineup in front of your best hitters. Riley Greene goes 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a walk. So gets on base 3 times. A lot of people freaking out about Riley Greene, 2 games back from the injured list. And we're like, oh my goodness, look how bad he looks. He sucks. It's oh my goodness. He's been off the injured list for 2 games. He hit a ball 422 feet. Absolutely annihilated it. That ball was gone in Old Comerica Park before they brought the outfield in, even in dead center of Old Comerica. He looked great at the plate in this one, which is nice because, again, he did objectively look rough on Tuesday. It was just, it's 1 game, and he's been back from the injured list for 2 days. It's okay. And we saw Riley Greene do Riley Greene things. And then Kerry Carpenter, man, 2 for 5 with the home run. That home run might be the most ridiculous home run the Tigers will hit all season. I want you to really think about that situation and what he did there. Okay. That is a 3-0 count with 2 outs in the top of the 9th. And there's a base open. All you have to do is take it, draw a walk. Everybody's happy with you. Okay. Instead, he gets a fastball low and in. Now, if you're sitting fastball low and in, you can turn and burn on that, right? If he was just locked into, okay, if he gives me a heater low and in, I'm absolutely cranking this to the pull side, then so be it. That's not what happened. He got almost jammed on it. He got underneath and inside the baseball, took it to the opposite gap over the wall for a home run. That is ridiculous, awesome, and an incredible feat of strength by Kerry Carpenter, all wrapped into one. I was just talking about yesterday how he had been struggling for a few games. Right back on the horse. It's really exciting when 3 core pieces of your baseball team all have a great game and all hit next to each other in the lineup. That's exciting as heck. Let's keep talking about it right after this. Going to talk to y'all today about our new friends over at Tonal. Even the most dedicated gym goers struggle with consistency. The commute, waiting for weights, other people's sweat, it makes skipping a workout very tempting. With Tonal, you can choose from thousands of workouts and train in a way you actually enjoy at home. Tonal is the world's largest and smartest, most effective strength training system that helps you get stronger. It's powered by AI, and it learns every rep so it can deliver workouts personalized just for you. Tonal learns from your movement and provides suggested weight recommendations for every move. With detailed progress reports, they even create personalized programs and workout suggestions or recommendations based on your individual goals. It's like having a personal trainer at home with you, as Tonal will optimize every workout just for you. Unlike traditional gym equipment, Tonal uses adaptive digital weight to advance your training techniques. From professional athletes to the mom of three, Tonal is trusted by thousands who have become their strongest. Right now, Tonal is offering listeners $200 off of your Tonal purchase with promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Tonal.com and use promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $200 off of your purchase. That's TONAL.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $200 off. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2 of Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, as always, making us your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. We will, of course, be back tomorrow on Friday, recapping the end of this Cubs series and talking about the weekend, anything else that happens around the Tigers organization as well. And after you make us your first listen, make Locked On MLB your second listen. Host Paul Sullivan, a.k.a. Sully, is here to provide daily national expertise with his trademark humor to help you get ready for the MLB playoffs here in the dog days of summer. Again, Locked On MLB, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So talked a lot about the top three in the lineup, but they put up 8 runs. The top 3 were responsible for 6. Okay, 6 of the 8 RBIs came from Riley Greene and Kerry Carpenter single-handedly. The other 2 came from rookie Trey Sweeney, who smacked his first career home run in this game. This was comfortably the best game of his career. That's not really saying much. He's been up for less than a week, and he hasn't really done too much at the plate so far. So it's really easy to say that, but I mean, outside of just the home run, I thought he played really solid defense at shortstop. Good footwork. He had one ball that I think he could have gotten the ball out of his glove and transitioned it to Colt Keith at second base when they were trying to turn a double play. Didn't get the runner at first. I think he probably could have transitioned that a little quicker, but so could Colt Keith. So that kind of goes both ways. But I thought the footwork was really good. I think his range is great. He had another play later in the game where he had to range toward third base. His momentum was taking him toward third base. Did not even plant and throw, just went with the momentum taking him that way. Still got the runner by plenty over there at first. So I really have liked what I've seen from him defensively so far. But at the plate, obviously he hits the home run. The coolest thing about the homer, aside from the fact that it was his first home run, it's at Wrigley Field. That's got to feel awesome as a hitter and as a rookie. But it was on a curveball, and we have already talked here on this show about it, and a lot of other media sources. Tigers Minor League Report has done a great job talking about it. I know Jerry on Twitter as well, who's a fantastic follow. OPSenheimer on Twitter, the dog. That is, hitting curveballs is something he struggled with. He struggled hitting curveballs in the minors. He has struggled so far hitting curveballs in the majors. He's seen a lot of them already because people know that. And so him going 405 feet or whatever it is to dead center in Wrigley on a curveball is a fantastic sign. But even the other 3 at-bats, I'm not saying they were great pieces of hitting. One was kind of a duck to the outfield, but he was smacking the ball all over the place, right? He cranked the ball to first base, line drive right at him, and then had a couple of other balls that he hit pretty hard to the outfield. It wouldn't shock me if all of his exit velocities were pretty darn high in this game. So I think he was seeing the ball really well, and that's a great sign because he has gotten off to a slow start so far in his limited playing time at the major league level. So nice to see all around there. And then Zach McKinstry, I got to keep giving him his flowers, man. You keep playing, I'm going to keep shouting you out. For a guy that I think everybody had written off as he's probably, I don't want to say everybody, I don't want to speak for everybody, but most people in the fan base had written off as he's going to be one of the casualties when they call all these kids up. For him somehow staying on the roster and sneaking through, he's actually hit really well lately. And again, in this game, we talked about it when Sweeney and Young got called up, is that I expected McKinstry to play a lot more corner outfield and be kind of when a righty is on the mound, Zach McKinstry is playing corner outfield for you. And that's what we saw in this game, and he had a walk and a hit, got on base twice. So good for Zach McKinstry, and his outfield defense is perfectly fine. Pitching, yet again, a huge success for the Detroit Tigers on Wednesday. It's wild that it continues to be so incredible despite having zero rotational depth. Now, we've talked a little bit about how they are still getting bulk innings from a lot of guys, though, right? They're getting starter innings, quote unquote, from Kenta Maeda and well, I mean, Brian Sammons, right? Like, you name it. But that still doesn't make it any less impressive to me that they are just kind of piecing their way to having consistent 3 or 4 or fewer runs against them on a night-to-night basis. And so, yeah, in this game, you have Bo Brisky, 2 innings of shutout ball. Brant Herter, 3 2/3 innings pitched, gave up the 2-run homer. He made 1 bad pitch to the 9-hitter, and like he got a hold of it. Tip of the cap. Yeah, like that was Herter's mistake. That wasn't where he wanted that ball. But like, I'm not too mad about it. It was 1 bad pitch, and outside of that, he was pretty darn good and almost threw 4 innings. Brent Hanafy, Joey Wentz ended the ball game, had maybe the best curveball I've ever seen Joey Wentz throw. Legitimately. Was that the second to last at bat? I think it was the strikeout. That was maybe the best curveball I have ever seen Joey Wentz throw at the major league level. And then the cherry on top is you have the absolute GOAT, Tyler Holton, 1 2/3 of perfect ball with 2 strikeouts. He had a couple of pitches that were over the heart of the plate. I'm not going to call him lucky because Tyler Holton's really good. But he had a couple of pitches that could have done that there could have been damage done on them. I will be the first to admit that. But the first strikeout he threw, he comes in with inherited runners. He comes in with runners on base and only 1 out in the inning and proceeds to tightrope his way out of danger, not give up any runs. And the first strikeout he gets, that cutter backdoor to a righty was one of the pitches of the year. That was absolutely pinpoint command, disgusting tunneling and sequencing to lead up to it. He set it up. Miguel Cabrera used to talk all the time about, pitchers are trying to set me up. Well, I'm going to try to set the pitchers up, right? And that's always what I think of when I think of pitchers saying, I'm trying to set the hitter up. I always think of Miggy. But that is exactly what he did. Tyler Holton set up the sequencing of that at-bat to get it so that, okay, in a high leverage, when I have 2 strikes, I'm going to the backdoor cutter, and he's going to stand there like a house on the side of the road, as a legend once said. It was absolutely awesome. Had another strikeout in the following inning. So, yeah, like this is just incredible to me. I mean, we play the OPS game all the time. Let's play the ERA game, okay? Bo Brisky down to 4.24, considering it was like over 5 a couple weeks ago. We'll take that. Brant Herter, 3.52 ERA. Brennan Hanafy, 1.59 ERA. Obviously, limited sample size. Tyler Holton, down to 2.49, and over the last 2 months is like basically 0. And then Joey Wentz, 5.12. We know about Joey Wentz and his struggles this year. But like, if I would have told you that Herter, Hanafy, Holton would have had those 3 ERAs that I just listed going into the season, and it would be pitching either bulk innings or high leverage situations, I'm not sure you would have believed me. I don't think I would have believed myself. Very impressive, very nicely done. Let's talk about what went wrong in this game. Not a very long list, but a couple of things. Then we'll talk about stuff. We'll do all of that right after this. Got to talk to you all today about our friends over at Supply House. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trade, supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. If you need help with an order, get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every single time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free TradeMaster program. Every TradeMaster gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. So join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at SupplyHouse.com/TM and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at SupplyHouse.com. Also got to tell you all about our friends over at Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you our incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. They have a bunch of fantastic features as well as Game Time Picks. Again, seat views. You can get a panoramic view of your seat before you buy. The lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference, and Game Time's ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the entire ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets or baseball tickets or whatever tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Third and final segment in Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. So let's talk about what went wrong in this game. I thought Jace Young had a pretty rough day. Unfortunately, he goes 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts and a walk. Now, to his credit, the walk I thought was actually a fantastic at-bat. Had a couple of check swings he held up on, so able to work the count. I still think the decision-making is good. This is just one game, not freaking out or anything. But just objectively was rough because of the defense as well. Had a couple of really rough plays over at third, and now you are starting to see what people were worried about when he got the call up from the defensive side of the ball. Now, that doesn't mean that I want him to just never play third again. I want him to play third still pretty much every day the rest of the season. This whole point of the last 6 weeks is for development. You have to accept the downs that come with development in order to benefit from the ups that they eventually lead to, right? And I am willing to. Now, I'm not just going to play him at third forever and be like, oh, well, eventually he has to figure it out. No, but it's a month and a half sample size to end the season in his first stint in the majors. This is the time you play him there anyway and see if he can make adjustments and whatnot. But you are seeing what a lot of people, what we talked about on here when he got called up, we're talking about with his defense. It was a pretty rough day at the office for him all around. So hopefully he can bounce back today in the series finale. And then Spencer Torkelson, not a great day either, I guess. He goes 0 for 4 with a strikeout. I really didn't think he had that bad of a day, but I just didn't want Jace Young to be alone. And that's really it. It was a pretty darn good ball game. Pretty well played ball game by the Tigers outside of that. So there wasn't really too many options to pick from. Not a lot went wrong. This was a great game for the Detroit Tigers. The only thing the only reason I ended up putting Torque here is because there were several. If it was just one, it's okay, maybe. There were multiple, at least 3 pitches over the heart of the plate that he just stared at in this ball game. And that is frustrating because that was a problem he had before getting demoted as well. So we'll see what adjustments he makes there. Let's talk stuff. So, really, I want to kind of rehash the conversation we had at the very beginning of the show, right? Yesterday, we talked about how you're going to have games like game 1 in this series. 1 for 13 in RISP, low run total, kind of a sloppier ball game, not a lot of production, not a lot of energy, whatever. And it's fantastic to follow that up with a game like this, again, against a pretty solid pitcher. Not trying to say Tyone is what he was at one point, but he's having a solid year, having an okay year. And for the Tigers to bounce back from what they did in game 1, which was not a lot, and go out there with largely the same personnel and go out there and put up 8 runs, 2 different innings with 4 runs scored, I think is an absolutely fantastic sign and is great for all parties involved. Like I said, the kids are all right, man. Reese Olson had a bullpen session on Wednesday afternoon. That's reported by Evan Petzold of the Detroit Free Press, aiming for a September return, which is awesome. A, we just need starting pitching innings. But B, I think it's beneficial for him to get some innings under his belt before the season ends, right? If there's any hesitation about his health, then obviously just shut him down for the year. But I do think that there is something beneficial about him coming back, facing a few more lineups. Like innings can only help him at this point in his career with his development, right? He's still so young that I think that would be beneficial. So I am looking forward to and hoping that ends up being the case. And I think that's pretty much it. Tigers play the Cubs again, 2:20 p.m. Eastern time start. So a day game at Wrigley, how baseball was meant to be played over there on the north side. You have a TBD for the Tigers, so I'm assuming that's another bullpen game against Justin Steele, who is a fantastic talent, lefty. So I'm really interested in seeing what the lefty lineup looks like tomorrow, because a lot of the players they called up, the Tigers, are lefties. Is Jace Young going to play against a really good lefty? Is Trey Sweeney going to play against a really good lefty? I would imagine Sweeney doesn't. I would imagine Javi's just going to be back at shortstop for the finale, but I'm really intrigued about Young, because if it's not Young, then it kind of has to be Vierling. Okay. And then if it's Vierling, then that means that in the outfield, you're almost like one player short, unless you're going to play Zach McKinstry against the lefty, which you're not going to. Like Riley Greene, but then like Parker Meadows is a lefty. Riley Greene's a lefty. Kerry Carpenter's a lefty. So Andy Ibanez will work his way into there somewhere, I'm sure, as he always does. Matt Vierling will work his way out there, probably, I would imagine. But like, I don't know. So I'm pretty intrigued in what the lineup is going to look like. This is the first kind of like high end, like elite, or I don't know if you don't like Justin Steele as much, borderline elite. He's got a 3.10 ERA and 115 strikeouts. Not having a bad season. Certainly not, the borderline Cy Young campaign he had last year, but still pretty darn good pitcher at 29 years old. So we'll see what that lineup looks like. And yeah, that's really all I got. Just this was a really, I think, important win. Set yourself up to get a series win against the Cubs and keep that momentum rolling, man. I would love for this team to get back to 500. My preseason prediction was 84 wins, and by the end of June, I thought I was the stupidest person to ever live. So it's nice that they have redeemed themselves a little bit and kind of gone on this hot streak here with the youth movement and are playing it so that, at the end of the season, I won't look maybe as dumb. I know some people just kind of think I am, but that's okay. That goes with the territory. We'll see how it plays out. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. We will, of course, be back tomorrow recapping Game 3, talking about the weekend series as well, sending you off into your weekend and talking about anything else surrounding the Tigers organization. Okay? Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. I'll catch y'all then, baby. Go Tigers.